ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Namaskar, my dear friends. This is video number 2 on the wonders of bioelectricity in human body. This is video number 2. It starts with human bioelectricity, some demonstrations. The foregoing chapter has introduced us to the bodily and mental functions of perennially flowing currents of life energy. Besides sustaining the biological functions of the body and mind, this energy is serving other requirements of man and can be put to many other usages as well. The fields created by bioelectricity in the animate beings are interactive. An individual having a greater charge in the bioelectric field can influence the minds of those having weaker fields and make the latter act or think as desired. Modern science is investigating this energy in various ways. Mesmerism and hypnotism are based on this property of bioelectricity. Each living being has its own specific bioelectric field aura around the body. This bioelectric field also exerts its influence on the environment around the individual. Experienced yogis can learn much about an individual by sensing the bioelectric field in the proximity without actually meeting the person. Among other things, the science of psychometry also deals with investigation on the mental power of locating lost objects or finding facts of an object or a person associated with it without seeing or making any perceivable contact with it. By way of extra sensory perception of a bioelectric field, a yogi can tell many secrets and facts without physically coming in contact of a person, place or an object. However, the existence of a bioelectric field in human body does not necessarily require a conceptualization, nor does it need scientific equipment. The experiments given hereunder will satisfy the curiosity of the reader. Number 1, demonstration. Manifestation against the backdrop of a dark curtain. This simple experiment would demonstrate the presence of the invisible bioelectric field of the body. Keep one of the chairs facing the least illuminated wall of the room and cover its back with the thick black cloth. Place a dimly lighted wick lamp on the chair. The light should not be visible on the cloth from behind the chair. Be seated on the second chair facing the back of the first chair at a distance of about a foot from the cloth. Resting elbows on the arms of chair. Keep arms in upright position with the palms and fingers pressed together, as in traditional Indian salutation Namaste. Now start rubbing both palms together vertically. Do it slowly in the beginning, then gradually accelerate. A close observation will show a fog-like hazy luminous emission emanating from the palms. The palms may also appear to glow with a couple of sparks flying out of them. Edges of nails would particularly appear luminous. Second demonstration. Sensory perception of bioelectric magnetism. This experiment shows the bioelectric magnetism present in the body. Be seated on a non-conducting chair placed on the insulated floor. Keep body parts away from any conducting surface, walls, floor, or any other conducting body likely to leak the bioelectric charges from the body. Tightly press fingers of both hands together, leaving a little space between the palms. For about a minute, keep the hands pressed together in this position. Now keep the palms together. Try to pull the fingers apart. The bioelectric magnetism of the body would resist the effort to separate them. A vibration will be felt in the fingers. Third, changing the taste of water by bypassing bioelectric current. This experiment shows that bioelectricity flows through material objects coming in contact of the body, changing their physical and chemical properties. In one of the tumblers, insert the tips of your fingers for about 5 minutes. While doing so, conceptualize that the bioelectric current of your body is flowing through the tips of your fingers into water in the tumbler. Let someone who had not been watching this experiment closely and keenly observe the color of water in the two tumblers and also take a sip of water from both. The examiner would easily find a difference in the water kept in the two tumblers. Fourth demonstration. Conductivity of bioelectricity during physical contact between animate beings. This experiment demonstrates that during physical contact there is a passage of bioelectricity between animate beings. Make the center of a table clearly visible by making a circular spot on it by the marking pencil. Let the participants be seated around the table forming a circular chain by placing their hands in such a way that palms and fingers of each person rest on the back of those of persons sitting on either side. Let each individual concentrate their sight on the spot in the center of the table. The flow of bioelectricity through their bodies will be felt as feeble tremors in their hands and other parts of the body. Fifth demonstration. Recharging the bioelectrical field of a dead organic body by human bioelectricity. The following experiment shows that by transmitting human bioelectricity, it is possible to delay the decay of organic matter after its death. When a living being, animal or plant dies, it begins to decay on account of gradual leakage of residual bioelectric charge of its body into the cosmic reservoir of bioelectricity. The following experiment will show that it is possible to replenish this loss of bioelectricity for some time with the help of human bioelectric transmission. Keeping one of the objects selected for the experiment aside, look at the other intently at brief intervals with the thought that it is being enlivened by your bioenergy flowing into it through your sight. It will be found that the other object kept aside had undergone normal decay, whereas that being subjected to the experiment is retaining its freshness. Greater concentration is likely to dehydrate the object. A woman in France had reportedly developed an unusual bioelectric field in her body. She could prevent the decay of dead organic matter simply by looking at it. Besides observing the effect on plants, flowers, and fruits, scientists verified this phenomenon by experimenting with various types of other objects like dead frogs, rabbits, fishes, and pigs. Microscopic examination to confirm the absence of bacteria in the experimented objects for weeks together. Besides, whenever some decaying organic matter was brought to this lady, she could destroy the bacteria responsible for the decay within moments by gazing at the object. Sixth experiment. Telekinesis by bioelectric transmission. It is an interesting experiment demonstrating the effect of bioelectric transmission on dynamics of material objects. Even children can carry out this experiment with amusing results. The effects are startling when there are a large number of persons performing this experiment together. Let the experimenter be seated at a distance of about 3 feet from the freely suspended needle and fix his gaze on the needle. There should not be any movement of air in the room to affect free movement of the needle. While concentrating the side on the needle, let the participant desire the needle to move sideways, backwards, forwards, clockwise or anti-clockwise. After some time, the movements of the needle will be found obeying the intention of the participant. This experiment can also be performed by a large number of participants holding suspended pendulums steadily in their hands. Seventh demonstration. Building a bioelectric fence. Like an electric fence constructed for protection, it is possible for an individual having a strong bioelectric field to build an invisible bioelectric fence for safeguard. Such a fence does not permit an undesirable person to enter the safeguard territory. The following experiment will serve as an example. The experimenter draws a circle on the ground with a marker, thinking that a bioelectric fence is being built around the area. Ants and similar small worms having weak bioelectric fields will find this area impenetrable. On coming close to this fence, these will be circumvent it through, though it was built with hot sand. If such a fence were drawn around a worm, it would find it difficult to come out of the confined space. Even if it crosses it at great risk to its life, it would appear miserable while moving through the confined space. The great epic Ramana described that Lakshman had drawn a similar fence, Lakshman Rekha, around Sita for her safety against the demon king Ravana. He dared not enter the fence and abducted her when she crossed the fence for giving him alms. Eighth, scanning a bioelectric field. Hands placed on a sensitive photographic plate in a photographer's dark room would produce X-ray-like prints of their bioelectric field. Kirlian photography has been used to obtain similar prints from plants. Ninth demonstration. Producing a bioelectric shock. The experimenter stands at a short distance behind a person engrossed in some work and concentrates gaze on his spine or on the exposed part of neck with the intention to startle him by giving him a shock by sending a bioelectric current through sight. However, deeply engrossed in work, the gaze will distract the subject. The sight of the onlooker will create an itching sensation on the part of the body being looked at, and the subject will turn his head back to look at the experimenter. 10th demonstration: telepathy by sending bioelectric thought currents. Let a person be seated before you in comfortably relaxed in a calm state of mind, with the mind of the subject before you as the target. Concentrate on the forehead of the subject with the thoughts desired to be sent telepathically. The bioelectric waves carrying the thoughts being projected will enter the mind of the targeted person, producing a similar thought there with a little practice. In most cases, this experiment produces encouraging results. However, where the subject has a vacillating mind or is obstinate by nature, the thoughts being transmitted may not be properly received. Next topic is influence of bioelectricity on food products. Common man is hardly aware of the effect of internal purity of food on mind. In one of his books, Professor Leadbeater had founder member of Theosophical Society speaks about the influence of subtle ingredients of food on human body. According to him, apart from the digestive matter, the food matter also carries with it certain subtle contents, and our bodies absorb these as well. We meticulously take care of the external physical cleanliness of food, overlooking the fact that its internal purity is much more necessary than its physical purity. Food products subtly absorb thoughts, traits of persons. Handling these for long periods, repeated right or wrong thinking becomes a part of habit, ultimately developing into a trait of the person. The imprints of these thoughts, traits on the edibles created by the bioelectric transmissions of associated persons are carried over to the mind of its consumer. The internal purity of food is maximally affected by the morality and mental state at the time of cooking of its cook. Research tells us that maximum discharge of human bioelectricity takes place through the tips of fingers. Foodstuff repeatedly touched by bare hands and fingers cannot remain unaffected by the good or bad traits of the cook. It is true that while heating, many such internal impurities are removed. Nevertheless, heating does not purify the food in totality. Physical contact is not the only factor responsible for the internal impurity of food. Thoughts are waves of bioelectric current as such. These are also propagated through sight while looking at the thing. Hypnotists and mesmerists utilize this property of transmission of thoughts. The famous saying, love at first sight, too illustrates this phenomenon. Food is man's favorite subject. Food products easily attract men. When one casts a glance on the edibles kept on the plate of a neighbor, the thoughts of the onlooker are also transmitted to these edibles. Food served reluctantly or by a person in an unhappy state of mind would certainly have negative effect on the eater. The same is true of the foodstuff forcibly snatched from somebody or consumed alone while sitting at a place surrounded by several onlookers and of food earned by unfair means. In marketplaces, sometimes sweets and other delicious edibles are displayed in glass showcases. Many onlookers feel tempted, but for some reason or the other, do not or cannot purchase these articles. Little children and individuals who cannot afford to buy these particularly watch these edibles with a craving. Bioelectric charges of such suppressed desires of many persons continue to accumulate on these food items, making them unworthy of consumption. Whatever be their nutritional value, repeated consumption of commercial products so displaced makes one sick. For this very reason, a natural and home cooked food eaten in the company of family members or people who are also having their meals in calm state of mind is considered more beneficial for health than a pre-processed food, fast food or food handled by many persons or displaced in a showcase. Being prepared with loving thoughts and care, a simple, inexpensive, ordinary food prepared and served by family members is much more nutritious and satisfying than the cookies and delicacies acquired from a departmental store. The good Hindu epics Ramayana and Mahabharata narrate the incidents of Lord Ram and Krishna accepting simple edibles offered by the poor, turning down invitations by kings. When Ram greatly appreciated the jungle berries offered by Shabri and Krishna praised the preparation of leafy vegetables served by Vidur, they did not do so merely to honor their host. They knew that the love and devotion of their host had enhanced the internal purity of the food manifold. Those engaged in advanced yoga sadhakas are particularly cautious about the subtle contamination of food caused by people coming in its contact. Ensure internal purity of food by taking a few simple precautions. One can ensure the inter- internal purity of food. Number one, while taking meals, avoid using metal tablewares constantly used by others. Metal tablewares absorb bioelectric charges and retain these for longer periods. Hence, when taking meals at the residence of a person having different moral values than your own, it is advisable to avoid metal tableware. Metalwares easily collect large bioelectric charges from the persons using these for long periods. Though heat neutralizes such negative influence to a great extent, sometimes after prolonged utilization, the accumulated effect becomes so strong that it is not removed even after repeated heating. The custom of using disposable biodegradable plates saucers, cups, tumblers, and pitchers prepared from leaves and pottery during community feast as advocated in the Indian culture avoids such risks and also propagates an environmental friendly healthy trend. Second, ensure internal purity of kitchen tools. Since fire heat neutralizes foreign bioelectric charges to a great extent, the environment around the kitchen, having burners and ovens, is naturally more purified. Hence, the area around the kitchen is a better place for taking meals. Besides, the external impurities like bacteria or insects too are less in the region where cooking fire is burning. Clothes to carry foreign deleterious bioelectric charges likely to affect the internal purity of food. It is therefore advisable to wear minimum clothes while taking meals. On account of frequent exposures to the bioelectric fields of different persons, face and hands and other exposed parts of the body are particularly susceptible to greater pollution. Besides, as mentioned earlier, the tips of fingers discharge and receive bioelectric current to a greater extent than other parts of the body. Hence, washing face and hands before taking meals safeguards the internal purity of food. Persons serving food items should not touch them with bare hands. Touching a liquid food is more risky as liquids absorb bioelectric charges faster than solid foods. As far as possible, spoons and tongs should be used for serving the food. Self-prepared food has maximum purity. Next to it is the food cooked by morally compatible friends, relatives, well-wishers, and persons having higher values of character. Knowledgeable persons engaged in pursuits of spirituality are particularly careful about the internal purity of their meals. Madame Blavatsky of Theosophical Society advises people to let very few persons handle their food and water containers. The cook and attendants should preferably be asked to partake their meals beforehand lest their cravings become associated with the food being prepared or served. If required to share meals with persons having different values, one should preferably partake only dry food products since these absorb little extraneous charges and also take a longer time in eating to bioelectric feeds. Milk or its liquid products should never be accepted for personal consumption from persons of unknown morality. These absorb bioelectric charges much more than water. Obstacles subtly retain impressions and traits of persons who come in their contact for long periods, whereas the deleterious bioelectric charges of food, grains, and other edible products are purified by heating if the latter have been forcefully or unethically acquired or received by bagging. The charges associated with the feelings of their erstwhile rightful owners are not wiped out even after being subjected to heat treatment. Non-vegetarian food products can never have internal purity. Whatever external treatment an animal product is subjected to, it retains deleterious bioelectric charges produced by the stress and agony experienced by the animal when it was killed. The consumer of non-vegetarian food cannot escape the harmful Psychological effects such as stress of these residual charges permanently absorbed by the product. Even milk forcefully acquired from cattle carries such charges. Note: quite a few influences harmful for the internal purity of food can be effectively removed by power of will. Before picking up the first morsel, take a spoonful of water in the left hand and dipping the fingers of the right hand in it. Sprinkle a few drops around the plates containing the food. Closing, I pray, O God, please purify this food by removing from it all undesirable constituents and make it life sustaining. Believe that your prayer has been answered and the food has been supplemented with nutrients for physical, mental, and emotional health. A sincere prayer made in this manner renders food healthy by removing its many undesirable elements. Remembering the grace of God at the dining table also serves the same purpose. Dear friends, this is a wonderful knowledge. People may not believe, but fact is that whatever is being told in this chapter, it is 100% correct. So, while taking your food, you must observe these fundamental rules that you should not take food from a person of bad character, bad thinking, and food made available by unfair means should be avoided because this food will be creating problems for the consumer. So thank you my dear friends for watching this wonderful video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. And in video number 3 also I will continue with this wonders of bioelectric charges. Next video will start with reactions of electromagnetic and bioelectromagnetic fields on plants and humans. Namaskar, my dear friends.